Don't forget I'm on math lab, Mo. I mean, if you want everybody to hear you sing, that's fine. Hey, Alyssa.
Hello. I'm not too sure how this works. I don't know if my microphone is on.
Your microphone is on and I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. A couple of things that you can do. I just pulled this up just because I didn't know if anybody was going to show up. You can ask me any question you want from the beginning of the year to the video that you watched today, even. Oh, actually, there was no video for today. All the way up through complex numbers. I just pulled this up just in case nobody showed up. I was just going to do some additional work on complex numbers. You can talk to me, or you can actually, do you know how to open the chat window?
Not exactly.
Okay. What you would do to open the chat window is kind of roll your cursor over the screen of the Google Hangout, and a little pop-up window should kind of show up on your far left. And there is something that looks like a text box. And I have something that's already up there, and it says, "Hello, got questions." Do you see that?
I opened the chat, I think.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't see.
You don't
I don't
see
see
me?
what you wrote.
Okay. Let me write something else. I can type.
Okay, I see.
You do? Okay. All right. So maybe that's kind of interesting. Maybe it doesn't show up until after, I don't know, maybe things that I type prior don't show up. Is there anything on this page that you have a question about, or is there something prior to this?
I don't think so.
Okay. Are you just trying to Are you just trying to check out Math Lab to see how it works for future, which is fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess one question I have is if coming to these is required.
Oh, no, ma'am.
I
It is not required at all.
Okay.
It's just the fact that we understand that we're only there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes people need like additional help or just like a little something to get them up over the hump of something they're not quite clear on while they're going back over something, or maybe even prior to a test, maybe additional
Okay.
review on something. That's really all it is. It's just made available as an extra place. Obviously, you can email Miss Stone, you can email me, um, questions at any point in time, and we'll answer them for you. We're just trying very hard to figure out new ways to reach out to students that's easily accessible for them so that they can ask questions.
Okay.
And also, it's my understanding that, um, and I've only gone back and reviewed these just because it feels awkward for me. I'm not one that likes to be recorded, um, but if you miss a math lab, you can actually go to my YouTube channel and watch a math lab. And what I'll try to do post the math lab is write down the types of questions that were asked or reviewed so that you would actually see if there's anything of interest to you.
Okay.
So anyway, but you feel pretty good about complex numbers and conjugates and all that good stuff?
Yeah. I mean, we haven't really been on it for very long, so I don't have it down completely, but I'm sure like going through my notes and looking over it, I could figure it out pretty fast. I'm
Okay,
usually
cool.
pretty good at that with math.
Oh, good, good. That's awesome. Well, but that's all Math Lab is just a place to, really ask questions and get clarification on things. And I was experimenting before anybody got here with working things on paint because I was trying to, before I was drawing in on paint, and it was really the thickness of what I was drawing was a little too thick, but it's still real difficult to get it small enough to fit. I don't know if that makes sense,
Yeah.
but that's what I was struggling with. But so and I was thinking about, are you familiar with what a conjugate is? So like for 23, 24, 25, and 26 that are on the screen, you know what their conjugates would be?
Yes.
Okay, great. That's just really kind of a crucial part of, what we're going through. And the only other thing that if I was just going to remind somebody, tidbits of information is to make sure that, like on numbers, let's see, 11 and 12 that are on the screen, oh, and 13, that you make sure that you distribute the negative all the way through the second set of parentheses. So like on number 11,
Uh-huh.
there's a minus sign. You want to make sure that you're distributing that all the way through to both the 3 and the I, which then would change them from being positive to negative when you're combining them with the 6 and the minus I in the first set of parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
Those would just be probably hints that I would give for this particular one.
Okay.
But no,
That
I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that those things make sense to me.
Okay, great. So really what Math Lab would be is if you ever need clarification on anything. And that's really all it is. And you can come in here and ask any question over anything that we've been covering.
Okay.
So hopefully we're just trying to find new ways to reach out to the students.
Yeah. It's probably going to come in handy at some point. Like right now, I don't know if I need that much help, but later.
Yeah, well, yeah, I completely understand. I think Miss Stone and I kind of felt like Um, this particular chapter, we're even kind of praying through next year, dividing it into 2 sections because we felt like this was, yes, a good, some of it is definitely review, but since most people come in from geometry, the review is necessary because, it's been like a whole year since you've had Algebra 1, but there's still a lot of information covered. Like I felt like just in 1.6 alone, all of the different aspects of the complex number, there was a lot in just one lesson.
Yeah. I know during doing the math packet over the summer, I kind of thought the years would be going more in order instead of like Algebra 1 to Geometry to Algebra 2. So I was kind of using the wrong notes to solve it, so I had to do a bit of like review research.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, I understand. So, so I realize that the review is definitely a necessary piece of it, but
Mhm.
in the midst of the review, it seems like we're introducing, material that's complementary to the review, but sometimes they're packing a wallop of it into one lesson. Like this one to me was, just this had a lot, trying to do addition, subtraction,
Mhm.
multiplication, and division of complex numbers, in addition to finding the absolute value and graphing them.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I remember the the graphing part from Algebra 1.
yeah.
I don't think I did imaginary numbers before, like with the variable I.
Yes. Yeah. See, so that's kind of new. So, introducing the concept of the fact that the imaginary number, when you're graphing those particular ones, actually is in place of the y-axis. I mean it's not daunting or anything, but it's just like it's just a whole new piece of information.
Yeah.
So, but so I think that was another reason we wanted to make sure that, I was in math lab today and I was trying to come prepared with just something,
Hmm.
a variety of what we went over on the lesson and in the video.
Yeah. I
So
think
because I apologize, go ahead.
it's okay. Some of the videos have been a little hard to follow. Like I know like there were a few that were just 2 minutes long and there were 2 or 3 videos to watch. And
Uh-huh.
in some of those it was kind of like the the person teaching it thought we already knew what it was and it was just review. They'd solve it, but they wouldn't really explain what they were doing. So going over it in class would make a little bit more sense the next day.
Ah, okay. All right. And anytime there's a video, we love feedback because Miss Stone and I go through probably watching 6 or 7 videos before we pick one. So we really appreciate any feedback that you can give us. Like this one was a little helpful. You can always send. I feel like there's a place even at the end where you can comment, or maybe we need to start putting that in there. Yeah, this video was really helpful. I liked this. I didn't like that. It was too long, too short, that kind of thing. Or email us. Either one of us would love feedback. We're both, and she's thinking about it for sure, but we're both thinking about trying to make some of our own videos as opposed to using maybe other people's,
Yeah.
so that we can better direct them toward our students' needs.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's nice if you don't have to recreate the wheel. But we would love feedback, love it. So I appreciate you telling us that. Is there one that comes to mind in particular right now that you can think of where it was?
Um, I know earlier, I'm trying to remember exactly what the subject was. Um, it was something with the quadratics. There was we could solve it with the x, where we would write the value like a times c at the top, b at the bottom, and then finding the sums of those on the other side. And then there was a box diagram. And I know I'm not really explaining it right. I don't have.
I think I know what you're talking about. Like, was it the Xbox diamond method of
Yes.
factoring?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
In those videos, it seemed like you had to do the X and the diamond method to be able to find the answer instead of just one or the other, or having another way to solve it.
Yeah. The X portion of it, like where they draw the actual X itself, is supposed to be where you're taking the multiplication of A and C. And then the bottom part is where you're just plugging in that B value so that you can look and figure out what the different factors could be. And then the little box to the right where was to show you, it's almost supposed to be like a Punnett square where you're actually factoring out like things. But I know that Miss Stone probably showed y'all another way in class.
Yeah, she showed us something. I don't remember exactly what it was off the top of my head. But
yeah, I feel like maybe just maybe a review on factoring would probably be good, because you felt like there was an assumption that you knew more about factoring than perhaps you did going into that lesson. Or it was just confusing in general.
It was a little confusing. Okay. I think some of the videos would leave a little bit unanswered, and then when we'd go back to class, like Miss Stone would kind of fill in the blanks, I guess, or explain it in a different way.
Okay. All right. So you feel like, just for clarification to make sure that I'm understanding you correctly, you feel like maybe some of the videos leave you with some questions in mind, but definitely coming to class the next day, you're getting your questions answered.
Yes.
Okay, good. Because the premise behind the video is to give you an introduction to the lesson, so that the next day in class we're kind of picking up from that, completing the explanation of what we're going over, and then doing enough examples with you that you feel comfortable with the concept. But if we could do a better job on the front end of making you feel comfortable with the material, obviously we'd like to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really having a hard time with the class.
Right.
It's only a couple videos that I've had that problem with. But
well, we would like to iron that out. So that's important. We just appreciate the feedback.
Okay.
You know, because anything that we can fine tune, we would like to.
Okay.
So, because what we like about the flipped classroom is being able to introduce it at home and let you all at least try something on your own. And then we kind of come in and help you the next day, as opposed to teaching it in class and then you guys getting home and you're doing the problems all by yourself and then you get hung up. We're trying to kind of reverse that, so that if there is a hang up or a glitch, that we can help you, that we're actually there and present to be able to help you when you get hung up.
Yeah.
Oh, I really appreciate just the feedback on all this. Miss Stone will too.
It's I mean, I'm not having a hard time with the class.
Right. I could kind of tell that. I just appreciate the feedback of helping us make the class and make the videos and all of that better. That's what I'm sensing from you, is how we can just make it better, tweak it.
Okay.
I'm not sensing that you're struggling in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
So, and also to give you clarification about what math lab is.
Yeah. I know some of the science classes have labs on Tuesdays and Thursdays where they have to go to the school, so I wasn't sure that this was an optional thing or if it was mandatory. Like, I know we didn't have to go to the school or anything, but
Right.
I guess it was
Yeah.
just good to get that.
Oh, that's a good clarification question. So I think maybe what I'll do is even post in the lesson plan optional math lab to clarify that. You know, just if you need help. So I'll post that. I'll make that change to the lesson plan too.
Okay.
Because all it is just for you to come and ask any question.
Okay. And is the math lab or live sessions like this a completely new thing?
No, they've had them in the past, but they used a concept called Blackboard, which actually, from that standpoint, being able to write on things so that the teacher could write it out was a little more straightforward, but it was harder, it seemed, for the kids to gain access to it. Like, it was a more complicated getting access to it, but easier on the teacher end from being able to write on something and explain it. Paint is not, I mean, it's user friendly, but the disappointing part is when I'm using the paint, I can't really see if anybody's trying to type me a question in group chat. If somebody's speaking to me, I can hear it, but I can't see what's going on while I'm actually teaching. So if somebody was saying, wait, Miss Sparks, I didn't understand that, I wouldn't know till I flipped back.
Yeah.
So we're trying to iron out the kinks, but it's easier for everyone to gain access. You know, like, I feel like it's easier for everybody to get on a Google Hangout. So that we've got that piece ironed out, but we have to figure out a tool that's user friendly for me to be able to, or, you know, write out the problems. And then Miss Wynn does them for geometry on Google Hangouts, and she's trying to figure it out too. And probably even more so complicated for her because she's drawing shapes.
Oh.
You know, I'm just trying to write numbers.
Mm-hmm. I just didn't know. I guess I was a little confused, like being the only one here, not really knowing how everyone else felt about it. Because I'm new to Cornerstone, so I'm still trying to figure out how the schedule works and everything. So I'm trying to just do everything that would be helpful so that I can get a good hang of things.
Oh, that's excellent. So, and now you've, at least, and the good part about doing this, I've had a couple kids in my Algebra 1 class just come to math lab, and I think last time we talked about the eclipse, so it was funny, we didn't even talk about math after a while, but they were just like you, just trying to get the hang of it. Like, what does this feel like? What does this sound like? You know, what is it for? You know, because some of the Algebra 1 students are, like, some of them are even 8th graders. So, you know, this is completely new to them. And, you know, obviously some 9th grade and new to high school. They didn't know either. So they just kind of got on. Probably better to get on when you don't need the help and you just get the feel of it than coming in trying to get the feel of it and you have a math question. So. Yeah. So now you know what it's like. And please come visit me anytime because I'll probably be bored.
How many people usually come to these?
You are my very first. You are the winning customer. You are my very first Algebra II math lab attendee of all my math labs. I've had about 5 or 6 at most in my Algebra 1. But like I said, the last math lab I had was the first one where I really answered a question. And it was just one student. And then we ended up working for a good solid 30 minutes, just plotting some points and figuring out the coordinate, you know, plane and all of that stuff. It was just one-on-one tutoring. So,
sounds helpful.
Yeah, I mean, if you end up being the only one and you're the only one with question, you get it for a solid hour free tutoring.
I don't know if I'm going to need it, but it'll be nice to know that that is available.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't sound like you'll need it, but it is here. And obviously you can email us too. We're Miss Stone or I would be happy to answer an email and get back to you within an hour. My usually the way that I do it, if you have a specific homework question, if you email me, which you're welcome to email me, you just type in, and you can even email before Math Lab if you want to, and I wouldn't even say who asked me the question. I'll just say this is a question that was asked of me, and I will actually work out the problem with an explanation to the right. So I would work it out step by step by step by step, and then a little bit of an explanation to the right.
Okay.
So, but now you've experienced Math Lab. Please go back and tell your friends.
Okay. I guess a random question I have is in Algebra 2, does it get much harder than it is right now, or are we still trying to come out of the review stage of it?
I would definitely say there are pieces and parts of it that are more complicated than others. And I feel like I don't know. Rational expressions, sometimes people struggle with, but understanding this whole conjugate thing will help with rational expressions. And some people struggle with statistics and data, which is second semester. So it gets a little more complicated. Where did you come from? This is your first year at Cornerstone. So where did you come from?
I came from North Cobb High School.
I actually think you're Algebra 1 because I'm not absolutely positive how Cobb does it, but if I'm not mistaken, they do more of an integrated type of Algebra 1. So you'll see a lot more review things as you go through each semester, but it will just go deeper than what you had.
Okay.
So it seems to me that coming from that particular scenario, you will see some review, but it does get harder. But you seem very sharp to me, and as long as you're asking questions and doing the homework, I've never seen anybody really struggle too much with a concept. The part that last year I'm remembering students had trouble with. Some have trouble with graphing some of the conic sections, which is the second semester, and some have trouble with statistics and data. But that's probably the two more complicated pieces.
Okay. I've heard a couple people talk about geometry being difficult, but I didn't have an issue with that class at all.
Oh, well, yeah. A lot of times geometry is probably, for some people, they like equations better than they do like pictures. But
yeah,
to me, what geometry is just taking algebra and applying it to a picture or a drawing or a shape. And a lot of times what kids forget is the algebra. What Miss Wynn tells me is that the part that they struggle with is not the shapes, but the actual algebra that's applied to the shape. So, but it's good to hear that you didn't. All it is really kind of proving a lot of things. So I'm glad to hear that you didn't. So you didn't struggle with like theorems and postulates and things like that and where they apply?
Not really.
Oh, that's good.
I don't remember what specifically took me longer to get the hang of, but I know I didn't really struggle much in the class.
Yeah. I just remember I felt like when my daughter was going through it, first semester was harder than second semester. And that was only because you're kind of getting used to like a new type of doing math. And I think it was more about just getting used to something different than it really was the concept itself.
Yeah. I mean, at North Cobb, everything was kind of pushed into one semester, so we
Mm.
work faster.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot y'all are all, excuse me, all block.
Hmm.
Yeah. Did you like that?
Um, well, there are things I liked and didn't like about it. I didn't like how fast we had to work to get everything finished, but I did like only having to go to 4 classes a day instead of 7.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that is true. Definitely switching gears. It's interesting. I have a friend who is actually the development director for a university that their whole premise is, and there's only two like this in the United States, but their whole premise is they do I think it's 5 classes a semester, but each class is 6 to 8 weeks long, and you just do that one class, and you're there all day. And I can't remember, it might be 3 days a week. But like, let's say, for instance, if you were taking a theater class, this particular university is in Iowa, so they might actually go to Chicago for 2 weeks and go to a bunch of different theatrical performances and actually write about them, or or that kind of thing. So you would do that for like 6 weeks. And then if your next class, like if you were actually, taking Spanish, you actually might go to Spain for 10 days.
Wow.
I know. It's a pretty cool concept. She was a sorority sister of mine in college, and we hadn't seen each other in a long time, and got together this summer, and she was explaining it to me. It was really interesting. But that just kind of reminds me of like block classes in a college atmosphere. That's huge block.
I mean, I know I've done like a 6-week class before. Like I did health over the summer.
Uh-huh.
Um, I actually had to cut it down to 5 because I was going to be out of town for a week with no internet. So I had to work a little harder to get a week ahead.
Oh, wow.
But I thought health was easy, so I didn't really have a problem with that. But
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny you mentioned theater because that's kind of one of my main interests right now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Like I'm doing acting this semester. I might try to do musical theater next semester or next year.
Uh-huh.
But
Oh, cool. So you're in Midsummer's Night Dream.
yes.
Oh, cool. What part are you?
Um, Peter Quince. We're gonna have to make it a girl though.
Petra.
Petra. Yeah, I had to do like research for the character analysis, so that was the female name I came up with.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's the one that I came up with off the top of my head. So I think that is the female.
Yeah. I mean, I looked up to be sure the female version of Peter, and it was Petra. So
Yeah, I'm trying. It's been so long since I've seen A Midsummer Night's Dream or read it.
hmm
So I'm kind of looking forward to watching it and seeing it.
yeah,
Have
I had never read it before finding out that that's what we were going to be doing. And
Uh-huh.
it was the same last year too. I was here for 3 class periods just to get a feel for how the school works before I did a full schedule, took
Uh-huh.
electives. And I was in Great Expectations, and I had never heard of that either. So it was kind of cool
Oh.
getting to read a new script before performing it because I don't
Oh.
really do that much.
Oh. And who were you in Great Expectations?
Miss
Um,
Havisham,
oh, you did fabulous.
thank you.
Yeah, you did great. Yeah, that was fun. I'm sorry I didn't remember that. But yeah, you did
That's
great.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I know it had been a long, I don't think I'd ever, like, I went on and watched little bits of that on YouTube, a little, like some of the old clippings of it, and it'd been a long time since I'd you know, Charles Dickens, that particular one. Such a sad story, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think, I can't remember, I'm gonna stop sharing that boring thing that I had up, and I'm trying to remember. Did she give you suggestions as to, and maybe she doesn't even want you to do this, so you kind of do your own character. But I was trying to think of who played the characters in the one that I saw on PBS. I was trying to remember because it was really, really, really good. PBS had a great version of it.
For Great Expectations?
No, I'm sorry, Midsummer Night's Dream.
Okay.
Yeah, they did it it was 1999. Oh, Christian Bale was in it.
Oh,
That's right. Kevin Kline, Michelle Pfeiffer, really good, really, really good actors, and they did a great job.
I haven't seen any other performances of it, so I'm gonna have to look those up.
Yeah, it's 1999. I really felt like there was somebody else in it too that rang a bell for me. Yeah, but definitely, it's totally worth looking. And there might even have been an earlier one too. There was two different comedies that I really, really liked, and PBS aired them. But one actually had Denzel Washington in it, and another had Michael Keaton in it playing a crazy man, and he did a fabulous job. So
for Midsummer Night's Dream.
I think it was Midsummer Night's Dream, but then it was another Shakespeare comedy, and now I can't remember which one it was.
Okay.
I'll have to research it, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
So what period is your acting class? 5th?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. Well, I'm excited. It was nice getting to chat with you.
Yeah, it was nice. I didn't think I'd be the only person here.
Yeah, well, you know, you were it was a captive audience, that's for sure. But at least you know how it works now.
How can you tell if there are other people here? Is there a list?
Yeah, there would be. Can you see where in the bottom right-hand screen where you should show up and then it's me?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's not showing.
I see it.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
Like I see your picture, like it's a keyboard with pretty lights, and I just put my picture up, my cornerstone picture, so that I don't have to show my face.
Mm.
I don't mind my voice is bad. At first, I didn't even want that. I just wanted the chat window open. And then I do have some students who don't like to speak on it. And they like to type all of their questions in the chat box. So like one of my videos really has me talking and responding to whatever they're typing in the chat box.
Yeah, I've done stuff like that before.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I'm just glad people are showing up to hang out.
Wasn't much of a math discussion, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. We had that one picture up for a while, and we went over a couple little things in complex numbers, and we got some stuff ironed out about videos. So, and please pass it on if there's a video that you really, really like, or like last year, I had a couple kids tell me, they were like, oh, please, Miss Sparks, try to use Ed Berger. And I don't think I've used Ed Berger yet in any of my classes, but they really liked him. He's very high energy and explains things very, very thoroughly. But he's really more later concepts and pre-calc-ish. So I'm trying to find some of his more algebra videos.
I haven't watched any of those videos, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think we've had one of him on there. But this weekend's is a guy, he's called Math is Fun, and he's pretty high energy. So, but that's Math Lab.
We just have the textbook problems today, right?
Yeah, I think it was only like 6 extra problems just to make sure everybody's clear on it. And then just because we felt like it was covering so much that we did that, I probably we could have worked those together if you wanted to while we were on here. I didn't even think about that. If you want to do that.
Well, I'm not looking at, well, I can pull up the lesson plan. Oh, they changed something. Okay.
Yeah, just 4, 14, 30, 32, 46, and 48. So it's just like 6 problems, 5 problems.
I don't know if I've done 3 through 45 odd. Is that something that we need to turn in?
I don't know if she's having you all I don't know what her turn-in policy is. My turn-in policy is I want all of the classwork the day of the chapter test. That's my turn-in policy. So, and the reason why I do that is I just like to see who's trying what. And I would tell my students even last year, if, I don't want you to beat a dead horse. I just want to make sure that you understand how to do it. So you're doing a couple from each section.
Yeah.
But like I say, I don't know what her turn-in policy is. You might want to clarify that with her.
Usually we'll watch a video and start some of the problems at home, and we can finish them in class and turn them in that day. But sometimes if we were confused, she says we don't need to turn it in.
Okay.
And she might give us different problems to work on. But I'm trying to see if I have done those problems already or not.
That would be what we worked on yesterday in class.
Okay. I feel like in class we just went over some practice problems.
Okay.
On the board.
What period do you have her?
Second.
Second? Okay. Yeah. I can't, yeah, because I think she said some of her classes, each one was a little different yesterday for Algebra II. But that's if you haven't done the 3 through 45, that would be my recommendation to try those.
Okay.
And, if you've done all of those and you feel like you needed some extra practice, that's why she and I stuck those 6 extra problems on there.
Okay. I don't see if I've done it or not. I'll just work on it today, I guess.
Okay.
But it was nice getting to talk.
Yes, it was. And if you don't need me for anything else, that's Math Lab.
Yeah, I don't think I do.
Okay. All right. Well, you have a blessed rest of the day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.